station. This is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, we are ready for the event.
BBC World News, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Laura Trevelyan with BBC World News. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Fantastic. Christina and Nick, this is Laura Trevelyan. If you're all set, we'll begin the interview.
We're ready, Laura.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us from the International Space Station, Christina and Nick. Nick, what is the view like from up there today?
It's breathtaking every time you look out the window. We're actually in a night pass right now, getting ready to fly over just the western part of Australia. And this is a favorite place that we like to be because you can look out the window and see the southern lights. This green glow that dances around on the horizon. It's just, it takes your breath away.
Christina, you plan on being in space for 328 days. How is it going so far?
Well, I'm about 4 months into my mission, about 1/3 of the way through, and I'm just excited that I get to be here for another 7. It's been a wonderful mission so far, and I really just take it one day at a time. You know, I like to think that it's not how many days I'm up here or the number of days, but it's what I do with each and every day, and that kind of reminds me to bring my best to each day that I'm here. The people that inspired me, I draw on their inspiration and their example. Those that came before me, and thinking about what they did and the things that they went through to pave the way for me to be where I am today. And that reminds me that, again, I need to bring my best every day. I have to say my biggest hope for the record is that it's actually exceeded as soon as possible, because that'll mean that we're continuing to push the boundaries and continuing to explore new realms of what humans can do in space.
And Christina, it's almost 50 years since the first moon landing. There's another one planned by NASA. Could you be the first female astronaut on the moon?
Yes.
Well, Laura, it's a privilege to even have that question posed. I don't necessarily think about it from that point of view, but something I do think about is that I'll be privileged to know the person that is chosen for that, because coming out of our current astronaut corps, there are a number of very capable, awesome, impressive, and inspiring people to choose from for that privilege and for that honor. I think that whoever it is will be ready, will be excited to represent our country and indeed the entire Earth on that endeavor. We all look to our heroes from the Apollo program when we think about moving forward, and we all train to be ready for anything. So it is exciting that it will be someone that we know and that we've trained with, and that we can say is definitely up for the task.
And Nick, did it inspire you to become an astronaut, that first moon landing 50 years ago?
Absolutely. It's one of those things where the accomplishment shows you what is possible when you put your mind to something very challenging. And looking back, you know, being up here today, we're here because of the efforts of so many people. The long history, it's a privilege to be associated with that long history of space exploration and all the advancements that they've been able to make. But we're also here today because of the gigantic team that it takes in order to support a mission like this. It's not just the two of us here. It's the two of us here, and it's the thousands spread around the globe in different mission control centers. And I think that's really what inspired me the most to get involved with space exploration, is that sense of team. It's a team going out and trying to accomplish seemingly impossible things.
Now, speaking of teamwork, are there any tricks that you two have been working on up there in that zero gravity environment? I see the microphone floating around. Perhaps you can show us what you can do.
We did recently come up with a little demonstration of microgravity that we'd be glad to show you right now if you'd like.
We'd love that.
We like to call that our double flip maneuver. It doesn't always go perfectly, but it's something that we've come up with, the two of us.
That was excellent. Now, is there anything else you can do?
So one of the things we like to do is have a little bit of fun with each other. It's tough to get motion sick up here, but we try. So Laura, you can still spin your gyros a little bit, but it takes a little work.
Well, it certainly beats going to the gym. Now, Nick and Christina, back down here on Earth, the victorious U.S. women's soccer team is being celebrated in Manhattan with a ticker tape parade. Do you two have a message for the team?
Yes, we are very excited to hear that. We did watch the game on the big screen last Sunday, and I heard about the ticker tape parade, and I couldn't be more happy for the team. I think they demonstrated awesome tenacity, hard work, drive, grit, and those are all also the things that are embraced by the human spaceflight program and by NASA in terms of us pushing farther, pushing harder, and making sure that we bring our best every single day, just like they brought to every single match. And it was an honor to watch them, and we really enjoyed following along and even being inspired by their example.
And what are your hopes for the next 50 years of space exploration, Nick and Christina?
Yeah, so I think my hope is fairly simple. It's that we continue to push the boundaries of what we know and what we think are possible. That is to take us back to the moon and to go in a sustainable way, and then to take what we learn there and to push further and go to Mars. And it's exciting to think about all the things that could be. And I know that with the global team that we've assembled as part of the International Space Station program and the lessons we've learned, that's going to take us into the future and ensure our success.
Nick Hague and Christina Koch, thank you so much for joining us from the International Space Station.
And thank you for all of your questions. It was great to be with you today.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the BBC World News portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from WRAL.
Thank you. IFB is in.
That's red, yeah. International Space Station, this is Catherine. This is Catherine Brown. Can you guys hear me?
Catherine, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Great, thank you. Okay, are we set? Christina, are you there?
And Catherine, Nick and I are both with you. Great to be with you today.
Okay.
Welcome on board.
Okay. All right, great. Hey, it is great to talk to you. So first question, it's 10:55 here in Raleigh. What time is it there? What kind of time do you guys keep?
Yep, we are at about 2:55 in the afternoon, so we are about 4 hours later than Eastern Standard Time, about 5 hours later than our home base where we have mission control in Houston. So it's not too bad, keeping in touch with friends and family from home.
Awesome. Well, everyone, Christina, specifically for you, everyone in North Carolina is so proud to have you representing North Carolina, especially NC State and the North Carolina School of Science and Math. How did those specific schools prepare you for what you're doing now?
Yep, I do call myself a proud graduate of both of those schools, and I also attended White Oak High School in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And I think all of the schools that I went to really did a great job of preparing me for what I'm experiencing here today and for my career before I became an astronaut as well. Specifically at North Carolina State University, I had so many options of different things I could study beyond electrical engineering and physics, which is what I majored in, including extracurriculars. That's where I got my start in rock climbing and other types of clubs, lots of hands-on engineering projects and things like that. And then also a lot of group work, teamwork, and allowed me to sort of develop those skills that aren't necessarily just technical, but that allow you to take any technical skills that you have and make sure they get applied and make sure that you have those opportunities where you can really put that to work. The North Carolina School of Science and Math was instrumental for me as well because it was a place, their motto is accepting the greater challenge. And I think that's what we do every day here in the Human Space Flight Program. When I left my small town of Jacksonville, North Carolina and moved to Durham to attend that school, my entire world was opened, and I realized that there's a lot of really interesting things going on in these technical fields that I hadn't really been exposed to before. So it was a very eye-opening time, a time of a lot of change and a lot of growth. And I really credit the great teachers that I had there, the great professors that I had at North Carolina State University.
Oh, I bet. Wow, that's incredible. And I'm sure your eyes have been opened over the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years, even more. Do you still have the Wolfpack symbol? Do you make that up there for your buddies?
I do have a couple little mementos from my time at North Carolina State University. I'm looking forward to bringing them out in a future event when I have with them. So I'd like to do an outreach event with my former college. And I'm looking forward to connecting with some students there, some other North Carolinians that have, you know, the twinkle of their dreams in their eye, and just give them a little bit of the perspective that I've had in coming from being in their shoes and having the great opportunity and honor of working on board the International Space Station. I also told Nick to get his Wolfpack colors out for the day, so knowing we'd be talking to you guys.
I love it. I love it. All the fans here are going to be loving it as well. We love the red and black. Do you do the symbols with your hands, the Wolfpack?
Pack pride.
You've just become the most popular person in Raleigh. Christina, and this is for Nick as well, I know that both of you have said that your training really prepared you for the rigors of space. What's been the biggest surprise so far?
Yeah, so one of the biggest surprises and the things that you really can't prepare for is how your body is going to adapt to space. Some of a lot of that's physical adaptation. The first couple weeks you're up here, your inner ear is trying to figure out why it can't determine which way is down, and your fluids in your body rush to your head because your heart's pushing too hard. You lose weight. So that's the initial. Then the physical stuff kind of you adapt slowly over a month or so, and then what I realized is that just recently, after being up here for almost 4 months, mentally I have adjusted in terms of the way that I can map myself around the space station and feel natural while I'm floating. That floating is now the way my mind expects things to be, and so it is kind of forgotten about gravity, and it makes it much easier to get around here. And so all those adaptations you can't practice on the ground, and so that's really the surprise.
That's incredible. Christina, I know you've tweeted out...
One of the things that surprised me the most...
Oh, go ahead.
You know what? I was actually going to play right into what you were about to bring up, pictures of North Carolina and my home state, because one of the things that has surprised me the most is how amazing it is and how breathtaking it is to look down and see the place on Earth where you grew up, and to know that from that place you used to look up to the stars for inspiration, and realizing that now I look down and I see the same inspiration in North Carolina's oceans and the beautiful mountains and the beautiful Outer Banks, and seeing the Raleigh-Durham area, and actually being able to pick out the Beltway and places that are familiar to me. And so I have shared those images that have been so impactful to me and were such a surprise to me, with hopefully folks in North Carolina to make that connection back with my hometown.
They have been incredible, and we have loved seeing all those pictures. Can you comprehend what it is that you're doing there in terms of the history that you're making, and how people look up to you now the way that you used to look up to people who were in your position?
We do reflect on that very thing a lot. I think that just being here, there's, our day-to-day work, but then there's a lot of time to reflect just on that, our position in history, how much we owe to those that paved the way for us to be here today, and how we can pay them back and pay it forward by doing our best every day and by turning that inspiration around, and hopefully being a role model for those that are thinking about what they want to do and what their dreams are. Interestingly, though, my hometown was small and not necessarily had a lot of examples of people in technical fields, I still had that drive. And I think the most incredible thing about the teachers I encountered, my coaches, and all the role models I had there around me was no one discouraged my dreams, even though it wasn't something that was necessarily, in close proximity to where I was at. And I think knowing that we can hopefully fill that role for others is just an incredible honor.
It has been an honor talking with you guys, and we appreciate you taking a little time. We have about 20 seconds left. Any tricks you can show us, like flips or anti-gravity things?
We have a little flip trick that we can show you guys that we've tried to perfect.
Wow.
And Catherine, it's been our pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for all your great questions.
Fun chatting with you. All right, have fun, stay safe, and we look forward to continue following your journey and speaking with you when you get home. Thanks so much, Christina, and Nick as well. Thanks so much, Christina, and Nick.
Thank you. We look forward to being back on Earth, and I look forward to being back in North Carolina one day soon.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
Thank you to all participants from BBC World News and WRAL stations. We are now resuming operational audio communications.